Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
You are welcome to Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. I'm Olokoli by name, the commerce teacher. So in this class, we'll be treating communication. So another that we'll be treating the meaning of communication, the importance of communication. We're going to look at the development and means of communication in Nigeria. Thereafter, we'll move to types and form of communication. Then we're going to look at communication networks or elements in Nigeria also. That is, we're looking at the Nigerian Telecommunication Limited, which is NECO, which is no more in existence. Also, we'll be looking at the Nigeria Postal Services, which is NIPOST. Now, the first thing we have is the meaning of communication. Communication generally is always referred to as two-way process because it includes the sending and the receiving of information. So it involves the process of exchanging and transmission of information, ideas, feelings from one person to another or from one place to another. So it involves transmission of and exchange of what feelings, information, ideas, thoughts from one place to another, or also from one person to another. Now, communication is one of the aids to trade, so it helps a lot in the facilitation of trade. So it's one of the aids to trade which helps to facilitate trade. So it's important in all of the business activities. So I'm going to look at the importance of communication. Communication is very important. I'm going to look at some few importance of communication. Number one is that communication ensures that there is creation of awareness of goods, creation of awareness of goods. So communication ensures that there is creation of awareness of goods, and again it enhances international trade. So communication helps to enhance international trade, and one of the importance is that it helps to reduce the cost and risks of traveling. So communication helps to reduce the cost and risks of traveling. And number four is that communication also ensures the effective and transfers of thought and information. So it ensures effective distribution. So it ensures effective distribution of information. So it helps to ensure effective distribution of information. So we have a lot of importance of communication. So let's look at this four. So creation of awareness of goods, enhances international trade, it helps to reduce the cost and risks of traveling, and also it ensures effective distribution of information between one person and another. Now, the creation of awareness of goods of goods. So since communication helps to ensure that information has been transferred from one place to another, and also ideas and thoughts have been transferred from one place to another or from one person to another, what happens? There will be easily dissemination of information about the goods, which helps to create awareness of the goods. And also communication also enhances international trade, whereby both the importer and exporter can easily communicate to one another without seeing each other physically. So it enhances international trade. So that's why we call it as one of the aids to trade. Another important is that help to reduce the cost and risk of traveling. Since communication does not mean the physical saying of both the buyer and seller, so that means what happened? That means trading activity can be carried out without physical contact of both the buyer and seller. So that helps to reduce the risk of traveling, and also reduces the cost of traveling. So that means the buyer does not need to travel to go and meet the seller, while the seller does not need to travel to go and meet the seller. So what we then do for them to find an effective means of communication and what communicate with one another and exchange goods and services between themselves. Also, we also have it that it ensures effective distribution of information. Yeah, wow, that's one of the importance, that it ensures that this information is what is effectively distributed from one place to another. It ensures that what information are effectively what distributed from one place to another. So we can also look at the types and forms of communication. So although we have more important of information, so you can just go and learn more of them. So next thing we have on the line is the development and means of communication in Nigeria. So we're going to look at the development and means of communication in Nigeria. So communication has been in existence in Nigeria, so why compared to the modern days. So we have some traditional ways of communicating in Nigeria, so we are going to look at that and development. So in traditional ways of communication in Nigeria, in Nigeria, what happens, different things are being used as the ways of communicating between themselves, that is in the villages and also in some way. That is number one. What happens in the olden days, what the people used to communicate among themselves. Number one, if people have to communicate among themselves, what they use, they can use the town criers to pass information around, that is to the people of the villages, and also they can use gun blasts. So if there is sound of guns, that means it's have some significant points to note. So also they can use fire fraud. So it shows that once there is fire, that means they are going to burn the bushes. When there is fire or smoke coming, and what happens, that serves as significant as a means of communication to the people, so people will know what is going on around and they know what to do next. So they can also use smoke. Smoke is also used during a period. So once they see smoke, what happens? People know what is going on and they can use it. That also serves as a means of communication. So if we talk about the tank crier, we also talk about the gun blast. We talk about the fire fraud. Then we also talk about the smoke. Talk about the smokes, and also we can also look at the palm. We can also look at the mental gog. Look at the mental gog. So in this period, with this mental gog, what happened? So mental will be beating all around the villages, and people will know, okay, something's happening. Maybe further information have to be passed. Then what will they do? They will come. They will assemble themselves on the square, and the information will be passed to them. So we have the tank crier, we have the gun blast, we have the fire fraud, or the palm fraud. You can also use the palm fraud. So they are going to form some aspect of dry palm. Then that start brings out smokes, and that can serve as what information. They can also use some smokes in the bill, and also have the mental gog to pass information from one place to another. Now the next thing we have on the line is the types and forms of communications in Nigeria. So we have different types of communications in Nigeria. So we have types and forms of communication. So we have different types of and forms of information. We have communication rather. So we have written communication. So it's also a type of communication. We have oral communication. That is information passed orally. We also have theory. We have non-visual or non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication. And next one we have is the visual communication. The visual communication. Now, the written communication, that means information is being passed from one person to another through written documents. So information will be passed from one person to another in a written document in the form of writing. So what happens? The sender is going to write some document to the receiver, and the person can easily read such information and then passes around. One of the advantages of written communication is that it can be stored for a long time. And what happened? And then is because of what writing such information that is through written communication is not much. It's having a reduced cost. So we have the written communication. So in which communication is being sent from one person to another in form of writing, and that is when information is to be sent. Such information will be form of what? In form of writing. It's going to be form of what? It's going to be written down from one person in the document. So from one person to another. Now the next thing, okay, the advantage of written communication is that it's usually reduced. There's reduced cost. That means it's cheap to send information through written communication. And then the next one is that it's usually permanent. Information sent through written communication is usually permanent in nature, so it's permanent hands of the receiver. So the receiver can check over the information once again, so over and over again. Now the next disadvantage is that written communication can break down if the receiver is unable to read, or the receiver is illiterate. So what happens? The communication will break down in that aspect. So in the written communication. Now the next thing is the oral communication. The oral communication, whereby information is being sent and received through spoken words. That means both the receiver and the giver of the word. Both the receiver and the sender of the information meet face to face to communicate orally, that is through spoken words, or they communicate through communication mediums like telephones and other means. So one of the advantages of oral communication is that the receiver will be able to listen to whatever information the word is receiving. So, and they can easily express themselves fully whenever the information is to be sent and is to be received. And once again is that the disadvantage of oral communication is that such communication cannot be received over and over again. So it's for a short time, it's not permanent, it's temporary in nature. So the next one is the non-verbal communication. So this form of communication does not involve any form of verbatism. So what is involved is the use of signs, symbols and figures to communicate to people, to pass information to people. So which means information can also be passed to people, or can also be communicated to people through the use of symbols, and signs and some aspect of figures. And so when the information is non-verbal, people use figures to pass information, and such information can easily be understood by the users. So, and that's one of the advantages. It's easy to understand, and the cost is not much. It's very cheap, and also one of the advantages also is that the non-verbal communication can be easily understood by the people, as said earlier. And the disadvantage is that the non-verbal communication is very it might break down if the receiver fails to decode the symbols being used in communication. It can easily break down if the receiver of that information find it difficult to break down the symbols and the code being used in communication. So the next one is the visual communication. This form of communication involves both the sender and the receiver of the information communicating visually to one another. It means both the receiver and the sender of the information will see face to face and then communicate to one another and express their feelings properly. So they communicate and pass their information virtually. They see each other and pass their information virtually. So the next one we have here is to talk about communication networks and elements in Nigeria. So we are going to look at different communication networks and elements in Nigeria. We have different communication networks and elements in Nigeria. So we have the communication network we'll be looking at is the Nigerian Telecommunication Limited, which is the NITEL. I also will be looking at the Nigerian Postal Services, which is the NIPOST. We'll be looking at the Nigerian Telecommunication Limited, which is the NITEL, and the Nigerian Postal Services, which is the NIPOST. So now we have to move to the communication network or elements in Nigeria, and the major one we'll be looking at in the communication network is the NITEL and the NIPOST. So we'll be looking at the Nigeria telecommunication companies, which is the NITEL, and their services provided, and the services provided by NITEL, and also we'll be looking at the NIPOST and the services provided by the NIPOST. So the NITEL provided phone services to its users, like provide telephone services, different form of telephone services like telephone directories and a lot of this. It also provide the telegram services, it provide tele services, fax services, and also provide global system of mobile communication through the service of MTEL to its people. So an example of global system of mobile communication, that is GSM, is the example of another GSM service provider is also MTN, like Etisalat, and like Airtel in Nigeria. So the NITEL also provides this form of services to people through the network of what MTEL then. So now then NITEL is no more in existence, but the company has just shall be privatized to other companies. So that was Transcorp companies now. So now the next form of communication network we have is the NIPOST, Nigeria Postal Service. So now, Nigeria Postal Services provide the following: provides postal services, that is going to post ordinary letters to people, post some parcel posts to people, also post some form of express letter to people. Also provide what? Also make sure that they post registered letters to the registered letters. These are the services provided by the NIPOST in form of what? Postal services. Now the next one we have is the payment services. It means the NIPOST also make payments on behalf of its users. So it make postal order, money order, cash on delivery, and it also was sales stamp to its customers. So postal order means sending us small money through the post office, and also money order means sending of some large amount of money through the post office, and also we have the cash on delivery also. So cash on delivery also is also being used to send money to the post office. So we have also another service provided by the NIPOST is the mass media, and that can become by electric media, and that was with network computer. And also we have the printed media, so they also provide some aspect of what mass media services to their users. And also what provide the internet, which is the network of communication of computers, also provided, and also provided the courier services, which is similar to the carrier, the services of carrier. So they ensure that they transfer different documents on behalf of a firms or company from one place to another. So these are the services of the NIPOST, and also the NITEL. They serve as the communication network in the country. So in this class, we talk about the meaning of communication. We look at the importance of communication. We look at the development and means of communication in Nigeria. Thereafter, we move to the types and forms of communication. So we talk about the communication networks and elements in Nigeria, that is the NIPOST and the NITEL. So I hope this class has been interesting enough. And if you're having some confusion with the topic, do not hesitate to replay the video, and again some questions and exercises will be displayed on screen. Do not hesitate to attend such question. Do well to attend such question. Thank you.